Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is James, and I am the Game Master for today's game of RuneQuest, role-playing Inglorantha. This is the 5th session we are doing for a promotional campaign that is showing off the RuneQuest starter set, which you can see a copy of just behind me. The RuneQuest starter set is this fantastic box that gives you everything you need to get started playing RuneQuest and exploring Glorantha. We did another stream where we have jumped in and shown the tailored adventures within it, but this stream is focusing on the sandbox content. In this 5th episode, we will be jumping into an adventure where our heroes need to resolve an infestation of zombies and undead creatures that have been plaguing them. Let's jump across to introduce our cast, but first of all, I would like to say thank you to Sirenscape, which is a fantastic tool that we use to improve our games. Bridget, can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Bridget Jeffries. I worked with Chaosium's Community Content Ambassadorship Program, and I am playing Iratia, who, true to her word, or at least true to this mercurial nature, I just keep swinging her back and forth, depending on where a D100 falls. But she and her brother bonded and then quickly unbonded, and I'm really curious to see where that relationship develops as we also try to figure out who sent zombies into our village.
Absolutely. There's a lot going on. Dave, I will throw to you.
The standard teenage drama of where did this goddamn undead come from? G'day, my name is Dave, and I am also our keeper over on our Call of Cthulhu Twitch stream, which is currently on a break, although we will be back soon after Gen Con, which we will also be at. For this stream, I am playing Telos. I am Iratia's half-brother. I am a roguish, archerish kind of guy, and last session I barely escaped with my arm intact, and this session I intend to lose the second half of it if possible.
Fortunately, you have been healed by some magic, but never fear. There's going to be some terrible things, and I'm sure if you really try hard, you can lose an arm.
And you know I will.
Absolutely. So speaking of Gen Con and breaks very quickly, a little exciting thing, this is going to be the last session of this little chapter of A New Hero, but don't worry, we will be back in a couple of weeks, and we have plenty of exciting things that will be happening in the meantime. More on that at the end of the scenario, but for now, let's jump in and get going with this exciting climactic session. So, last time, in summary, the collection of you had gone back to your village, to Oakton, the home of the Barmundi tribe, where you were resting and recuperating after the various trials that you underwent to retrieve a broken and magical piece of masonry from your rivals in the Orlevin clan. Things had been going relatively well. You had a good harvest and you'd been able to rest and recuperate when all of a sudden your village was attacked. Strange zombie-like creatures wandered in from the mists and the fog that descended upon the village, and you were forced to drive them back. After some exploration, after trying to identify exactly what the zombie creatures were, you learnt that they appeared to come from the Barrow Mound in the Orlevin clan's village. You think that they have emerged from there, possibly attacked the Orlevin clan, and you need to go over there fast and figure out exactly what is going on. As to why they emerged, you also had it admitted to you by Quayor, a young girl inside your village, that while traveling through the Orlevin clan's village a while ago, she took some sacred artifacts, some trinkets, some tokens from the Wall of Ancestors of Greenstone Village Barrow, which was formerly your village, so these relate to kind of your ancestral heritage. She obviously felt they were hers, and stealing artifacts from graves tends to have repercussion in fantasy settings. So clearly there is some terrible things.
She's going through a shoplifting phase.
Exactly. Everyone does
Put
it.
those
It's
back.
Fine. It's totally normal. Anyway, so as we take off, the two of you have decided, rather than go and seek out one of the nearby sages for extra information, you are going to prioritize speed, and you are going to head straight across to Greenstone Village to try and get this resolved as quickly as possible. So the dead of night, or early morning, is just starting to break. The dawn will be coming over as you rush forward and head out into the wilderness. Now, I have a question for the two of you. how much are you emphasizing speed over security? These zombies, they came into the village, which means that it's very possible there are more threats along the road to Greenstone Village. You could be sneaking, much like you did when you first approached Greenstone Village when you were going to undergo the trials. You could be using some of the same routes. You'll probably have an advantage since you've traveled through them before. Or you could just be racing straight ahead. You could have even taken horses with you to try and get there as quickly as possible. I hand it to the two of you. What's your methodology for getting across to Greenstone Village?
I'd suggest we probably go as quickly as possible, given that's our opening strategy.
Horses would get you there faster, definitely. Although, you know, they're an extra thing to have to deal with and think about. Probably you could just ride straight there, you know, tie them up somewhere outside the village and get going. But
we also need to bring a gift too, right? Because we're going into adjacent territory.
Yes, technically you should. In times of crisis, you can go away with formality to a certain extent. But if Greenstone Village wanted to be fussy, they would be able to call you up on it.
I think if this was all started by one of our number nicking their stuff this time, I think we might need to, you know.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
So you can stop and grab a couple of effects. Do you have any idea of what the gift could be, or do you just take sort of a sampler box of your harvest, some sort of standard gift type things? You would have pretty much a normal package that you would bring whenever you went on trading missions to other places.
Some small jars of jam, biscuits no one's really going to eat.
Yeah, you know, fruit that isn't quite ripe. Genuinely, though, what it probably is, it's a sampler of the kind of things that you want to sell to other villages. Get them hooked on, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a standard rollout.
Yeah.
And if they then sell these to their friends, then they can make a profit. Hang on, we're onto something here.
It's whatever your village is the most proud of, things like that. Yeah. So you can send off a couple of your clanmates to grab things and put it together while the two of you prepare to leave. You get your armor. I'm just drilling in once more. Horses or no horses? It will make a difference.
Let's check the old ride skill. Make sure I can move a horse.
Oh. Both will, having grown up within Dragon Pass, be able to ride a horse, whether you're good at it or not, completely a different issue. But as far as getting plopped on one and saying go forward, you can.
I'll vote in favor of horses, although I'm aware they won't be able to go down into the barrow itself.
All right, fantastic.
Rachel's going to have to lean on what her brother recommends on this one.
Okay, travel, dead simple.
Horses.
All right. Horses are prepared for the two of you, and you know that will help because you can put all the gifts across the back of the horses and get ready to go. Is there any additional special preparations you would like to take? Particularly, would you like to go to Quayor, the young girl who stole these objects, and would you like to get them all? Would you like to bundle them up and bring them back, or are you going to leave them here?
I think we should bring those, right?
All right.
This is where they came from.
She will hand you this bundle of goods, and when you open it up and look through it, you will see it's a collection of things that would have been placed along the sort of wall of ancestors inside the tomb. So it's things like necklaces, bracelets, old scraps of jewelry, and dried offerings that have been left. It really is, you gave the shoplifting analogy. It is quite that. It's sort of just grab stuff. There's no like, as far as you can tell, major artifact amongst these that represents the reason that all of this has happened.
This kid's an orphan, right?
No. She is the daughter of. She has parents. They're just they're doing their best. She is the daughter of. She is the daughter of Malene.
Do they want to step up?
Look, I mean,
do they have anything to say for this 12-year-old that snuck across borders multiple times and keeps on stealing shit from barrows?
They would be absolutely. Well, that opens a whole other field of questioning, which did you? Of course it does. I mean, Iracha, did you were sort of approached in confidence when you were given this bundle of goods. Do you out Quayor? Do you say this is all your fault? Do you tell everybody else in the village that she stole stuff and blame her for it?
No. Not after hard as she worked to regain that little girl's trust. No, she would tell Telos, but she would not out her to her parents.
In which case, yeah, Grail's parents, Melinda, she has no idea that anything's going on. So they're just trying to help out as much as possible. There was probably some, chastising for her tearing along to try and help the collection of you way back, although it was under good circumstances. She was traveling with the Guardian, maybe to the perspective of outsiders, she's totally fine.
Traveling with the Guardian of the Tree of Vengeance, who came bearing weapons.
Absolutely, but he is a great hero, and there's no one more trustworthy.
I'm beginning
really
to see why Iratia and I turned out the way that we did.
Fantastic upbringing. Anyway, so you've kept this secret then, and you've bundled up all of the gifts that you need. You've taken the artifact, you've put them on your horses, and you can get going on the way. Apart from that,
one more thing. Would we be able to get a cart to pull along? I'm actually thinking rather than speed. Well, these corpses might want to go back to where they came from. We might, because these are our ancestors, right? They should probably be buried again and returned to the ground. So maybe we load up a cart with some creepy corpses and pop the gifts on top.
You can get a cart and you can take everything there. Taylock, the farmer, will ask, and he's honestly not sure. He sort of posits the question: should these bodies now be buried here because Greenstone is no longer our home? Is this a situation where we can now bury them in an area we control? It's kind of open to interpretation, and there's no correct answer here. So you could bring the bodies or not, as you see fit.
They should go back with the others that are buried, right?
I'll collect a cart and we'll load everything up. They do so, and before long, you're ready to go.
That also would feel like giving up on the fact that we're going to take back that place one point. I think we're putting it back there because when we take back Greenstone, we're going to use those barrows some more. There's no point setting up another one. That's admitting defeat.
Absolutely, no. Good point. Yeah, this is only the beginning. All right, fantastic. So, apart from the cart, any other special preparations?
Yep.
All right. In which case, you will load up onto your horses and go hurrying out as the dawn begins to break and begin the roughly day-long journey towards the barrows. As soon as you get out of town and you start to move through the wilderness, it is dark season, so it's very, very cold. It's not a pleasant time to be traveling about, but you can tell that there is something else that is sinister in the air. The presence of, well, for want of another word for evil, of death, there were zombies wandering through here, has leached into the very nature that surrounds you. And as you move along, you are painfully aware that, there is some kind of bad energy lingering all about that makes all the hairs on your neck stand up. You are very in tune with nature, Telos. I'd like to ask you, how do you think that the landscape around here might respond to this presence? Is there any sign from the trees? Have all the birds, retreated? What's the go?
I mean, it's winter or winter adjacent, right? So imagine
exactly, yes.
Trees stripped of leaves, with clawing at the sky above, very stark. Little sound except for the crunching of hoofs underfoot, snapping branches, and a very marked silence from the animals that normally populate the region. I think I've hunted during dark season before, and there's still presence. I think whatever animals that, wouldn't be hibernating, that would still be around, have been scared off by the undead that came clambering through here not long ago.
Absolutely.
And also that we're now returning with us. So any creature that got the scent of them the first time would now smell them coming back again, probably
coming back through
more.
Again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's eerily silent as you go through. There is none of those usual signs of life that normally you would be able to detect, Telos, even in the dark season. Am I right that there's also probably not much communication between the two of you? Do you ride on in silence? Do either of you break, the sounds of crunching hoofbeats to deliver a barb, anything like that?
Silence is my default.
Iratia?
Iratia is still highly upset, but she's also super uncomfortable because, she doesn't know exactly what's going on. She really doesn't want to believe that, the village would have turned on us this damn quickly. Really, we just went through this a couple months ago. What are we doing, people? So there's that tension between she and her brother, but also she's not a travel outdoorsy person, and everything smells weird. It feels weird. Like this danger is tangible. So she's like probably head on a swivel, very uncomfortable, barely managing to stay on her horse because she's uncomfortable with her exterior situation and her interior one.
Absolutely fantastic. Let me ask you one follow-up question. Quail, back at the village, we made some jokes about how much of a menace she is, but what does Iretia really think is, have the actual actions that Quail has taken, should she be punished once this is all resolved? Is this a disaster, or can you understand her perspective, and are you maybe more forgiving?
At this particular moment, let's find out.
I love this.
Low kids will be kids. High.
A question, you're rolling a D100, right? You're not rolling against your water rune, right?
Yeah, no, I'm just rolling a D100 just to see how she goes. Yeah, so under 50 kids will be kids. Above that, like, this is going to need an immediate recalibration of her upbringing. This is going to be a 7. You know, kids do crazy things. Iretia had a shoplifting phase. This child is very young to have all of this anger, which, so really she's like, kids to be kids.
Absolutely. And plus, at least this is an excuse for you to be able to go to Greenstone Village and maybe you'll see Musin. So there's always
and mom.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry.
The moose.
Moose. As you begin to break through the trees and out into the fields of proper that surround Greenstone Village a little later in the day, you've traveled through most of the morning, you are both going to notice something. You crest a large hill and you're staring down across this long rolling plain that leads down to your destination. And for a second, a gust of wind comes blowing through the land in front of you, and you can see the grass all flatten and it forms a shape. You feel another sinister surge of that strange energy as a rune clearly becomes visible across the ground. It has manifested, and this is something that happens. The underpinning of Glorantha is all built out of runes, and this is kind of the spontaneous arrival of a particular rune symbolizing something. Either of you can make a spirit lore check to try and determine what that rune is, and tell us if you would like to. You can also make a cult lore check, but to the two of you immediately, when you see that, you don't know what it is, and that's unusual because runes are central and important. This is like this may be a bad example, but you being unable to identify like an element on the periodic table or something. Like this is made of something that you have no idea, or a solid. Be
super surprising for me, but I get you.
Or maybe you touch something and it's not a gas or a liquid or a solid; it's something else. And this is a fundamental part of the world that you are not necessarily aware of.
So my spirit lore is 0.
Oh, really? Absolute 0. You don't even have.
It's base 0.
Base 0. Okay, right. You will still have your it's a magic skill, not a 0. Yeah, so you have no chance here, but you can make a cult lore check if you would like, based on your association with Yinkin. What's your spirit lore, Iretia?
Iretia is also at a 0, but at least she has a +10 modifier to magic, so we'll try it.
Yeah,
that 7 I just rolled on a 50-50 would have been great right here.
Yeah, exactly.
So close. 18.
So 18. Okay.
I'm cult lore. Oof.
Not great.
Fail.
Okay, so the two of you see this rune, and the rough shape of it is it looks like a line with sort of 2 triangles pressed against the side of it, and you observe it for a moment or two before the grass kind of flattens back out and begins to wave once more, and it's gone. That sense of dark energy sort of fades for a moment, although you can't entirely shake it, and you really have no choice but to press on.
Can I very quickly sketch that out? Like stick her finger in some of the can, like blackberries or jam or something, just throw that off a piece of parchment so she remembers it?
Absolutely. Now, we'll say one thing. Runes have power. You writing this could have consequences. It's kind of like you writing part of a magic spell. Like you hear someone say something out loud, and you write it down. But absolutely, you can. And I love the idea that you sort of get it out and go to do it, and just before you start to mark, you remember that. I'll leave it
Do
over
I
to
do
you.
it? Do I do it? Do I do it? 50 and above, she's doing it. That is a 92. She is for sure writing that down.
Okay.
Hell yes.
Fantastic. So you scratch down. How are you recording it? Did you mention? I don't know if you carry parchment, if that's your sort of the type of thing you do. You could sort of just press it into. Yeah.
I'm almost imagining just like they rushed out of here so quickly. She's probably like going through the gifts that they had in a cart, and like the first thing she picks up is something that has some type of fruit that has a dye to it, either canned raspberries or beets. Probably beets. It's probably canned beets, something nice and bloody and red. And it's just very quickly the first piece of anything that will sustain, hold color, whether it's the canvas on the side of the wagon, a piece of parchment that she has, and she's just very quickly going to do that line in the 2 triangles.
Fantastic. All right. You write that down, and then you continue forward, heading finally towards Greenstone Village. It is getting close to sunset by the time that you arrive. You have to hurry through, and the entire remainder of the journey is unpleasant as the start. When you see the village come into sight, you immediately notice that there are large plumes of smoke that are coming out. It appears that something is wrong. Part of the village is on fire. It's under attack. So you can immediately tell that things are upset. As you begin to approach, riding down through the valleys, you see that most of the outskirts are empty, and you can see farmhouses and fields with no attendants. Either everybody is gathered somewhere or they fled. Getting a little bit closer, you will start to hear movement, and you will realize that there appears to be a large gathering of people, and they are sort of towards the outskirts of the town, near the valleys of farmland on the interior. They are entirely focused, and you can see that they've got like sort of makeshift barricades. There's huge crowds of people moving about, milling in panic. You could bypass them if you want, or you could head straight there.
Head down, right? See what they're doing. And let's also, just as we're approaching, be careful, because there's a chance there's more of these zombies milling about.
Do both of you want to make a scan check really quickly?
I can do a scan.
Yeah.
What's the old scan look like? Not bad. Success.
Success? Okay. Fantastic. All right. So you turn towards the, people, Aracha, and you begin to lead down the horses in the cart. Tell us, you glance across towards the village itself, and you peer into the smoke, looking between the houses. You will see, as you're a little closer, you can see several buildings are on fire, and there's like large pillars of smoke, and in between the sort of tight streets, you will occasionally catch a silhouette of a figure that moves with that eclectic, erratic movement that you associated with the zombies in the fog. The two of you ride down, and before long you rejoin this pack of people who see you coming and panicked for a moment, but then appear to immediately relax once they realize that you're not undead. You are from a rival clan. Yeah, but at the very least, you're not monsters. This is some kind of like emergency defense line, and everybody here looks panicked. They've pulled together like scraps of armor and equipment, but they're not very well armed. There's not the sort of standard collections of bronze swords and spears and weaponry that you would expect the clan to pull out in a time of crisis. Most of the people here do not look like fighters, and they are hiding behind barricades and sort of makeshift protections, gazing around into the city, and you can hear them planning and talking about how they're going to repel sort of the next approach. You will recognize a couple of the sort of village elders, the people that you spoke to before. Two in particular you will notice. First of all, Musin is at the front of the barricade, and he looks very professional. He is wandering along, and he seems to be like really effectively organizing people and bolstering morale and making sure that things are kept and seeing to the wounded being treated. Very focused. And when he sees you approach, the two of you, he's going to fix his eyes on you, Aratia, and he immediately starts to bluster and try to straighten himself up and act way cooler, and it makes him immediately much more incompetent. But yeah, the other person that is going to spot you is Olana, the person you mentioned, your surrogate mother, the representative of Greenstone Temple, and she will rush towards the two of you, and as she arrives, she'll say, "You've answered my prayers. I was calling to Analda for help, and the two of you arrived now out of nowhere. Please, you must have. Did you see the smoke? How did you hear of disaster here?"
We were attacked. And
Zombies?
I'll pull back the canvas or whatever to show the zombies. They came from your barrow mounts.
I see. I mean, I'm sorry for them coming, but we had nothing to do with this as far as we are aware. There is no reason that they should have emerged. All at once, Musin now comes and joins, still kind of blustering, trying to take command of the situation. He speaks over Alana and starts to say, yeah, they came out all of a sudden in the dead of the night, and we tried to fight them back, but they just kept coming and unstoppable. We had to light fire to part of the village to draw them back, confuse them in the flames. We've been burning our own houses to keep them back while we try and rally and figure out something to do. The two of you here, I'm glad to see you. You have weapons, right? You can take up arms. You can help us deal with this problem. I know that our clans are rivals, but this is a threat of undead creatures, of monsters, and as you can see, they came to your village too. This must be chaos at work or some other evil.
She's gonna cut her eyes over at Telos right now. Can I get a vibe check on Telos?
Yeah. Telos is about to tell them that we've got the bangles and things and put this to right.
Okay. When did they begin to rise?
A couple of days ago. At first it was disturbances, restlessness, something moving in the deep. Then the ground began to shake. There was some kind of earthquake that damaged the barrow, and they began to emerge after that. It's been a trickle at first and then a flood, and I don't know how many more. We wanted to stop them. We figured that whatever the real danger was, it would be down in the depths. Corlon and Fala, they headed through to try and penetrate into the tunnels, but we haven't heard from them in several hours, and we can't get into the city. None of our warriors can afford to leave the others here, and if we flee, we're giving up the village. We'll never retake it. He's looking from one of you to the other. Orlana is a little more skilled at, reading people. And if you came in with the intention of sharing this, her eyes begin to narrow as she is wondering kind of a few details here. You figure that she's going to start asking some pointed questions. So if you want to unload yourselves, now might be the time.
Something was taken from the barrows. We have it with us. Small trinkets. We think that is the cause. We came to return them.
Musin looks shocked. Olana turns towards you. She says, "Who took them? What happened? Why were they taken?"
Someone from our village took them. Who is not your concern. We will deal with their repercussions. But we've come to return them, and we've come to set this right.
So these two people have spoken to you quite a bit, more so than any of the other people of the Orlevin clan, and there's at least some kind of attachment between the collection of you. That said, this is still a pretty serious thing to have happened. Their houses are burning in the background of this scene. You can see fury bubbling up inside Musin, and he starts to kind of look from one of you to the other. He seems like he's about to explode. Even Orlana draws back, and you can see a kind of coldness and hardness set over her face. If either of you want to try and make some kind of charm or rate check to soften this blow, otherwise they are going to react as they would. Currently, this is a pretty damning situation.
I mean, I can't even be mad at him. I'd be pissed too.
Yeah.
So, she'll go for the orate. She's going against a 49.
What exactly, very quickly, are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to just sort of be like, look, I get it, I'd be angry too, level heads prevail, let's focus on the problem? Or are you trying to sort of diminish the culpability of the Varmandi clan?
No, definitely not the latter, especially not with her truth rune. No, she's going to be up front, but I do respect Telos protecting the child. So this is going to be, your anger is righteous. I would be angry too. It was unintentional. It was the folly of a child, unfortunately. With a 50. Did I tell you guys the score was a 49?
Oh my god. Just
So
short.
close.
Should have augmented. That was my fault.
Orlana,
they have a right to be mad.
She starts speaking this very soft voice, and she says, "This is disaster. This theft. It has destroyed our village. This must be considered an act of war. We will have to take this before the tribal councils. This will have to be discussed. The Kolimar tribe will have to pay for this infringement." At this point, Musin kind of holds up a hand to calm her, and he returns to that very officious.
There we
way
go.
of
Come
doing
back, baby.
things. But you do get a little bit of that. Might be because he's no longer really caring about impressing you or anything like that, Aracha. And he says very quickly, "We can deal with this later. For now, your clans were responsible for this."
No. If you want to consider this an act of war, consider your position first. We can leave, and we can return with soldiers, and we can take back this village, and then we can set things to rights. Or you can let us through, you can let us resolve this, and you consider that a gift. Something to preserve the peace.
He kind of bristles at you saying a gift. He tilts his head, he seems to be thinking, and he says, "I will call upon your honor. This was your clan's fault. You must fix this."
We will. We'll make it right.
It's what we came here to do.
Good. At least you are honorable, and we will mention this when we speak to our tribal councils. I can see you're bristling. Tell us if you want to let him have it. You absolutely can.
Do it.
Oh, I'll hold out the gift basket with the jams and say, "This is for letting us travel on your land."
He kind of turns towards it, and he takes it wordlessly, and he will hand it off to one of his other people. He doesn't do anything like throw it on the ground, because that would be, an added insult to in itself. And there's kind of an element of legalese over everything that now is feeding into your interactions. Olana says, "You know where the barrow is. We sent champions to try and penetrate into it. We haven't heard back from them. There are other recourses. Perhaps we have tools which could be used inside the temple. There is a in the base a gift from Marangor which could be used to." And you hear Musin sort of yell out angrily, "They should not be given our tools. They should see to this themselves. We will need these weapons in the days to come." And he glares at Olana, who sort of nods at him and will step back, clasping her hands around her stomach, looking between the two of you. Musin seems to have completely retreated, basically saying, "You need to fix this," and you have an understanding of cultural law here. He's going to blame you for everything here, and he's going to go to the Milani Tribal Council and try and paint this as an act of war between the tribes, which it might be seen as that. You could make a customs local check to try and get some more information on this, but they are essentially throwing things to you now, and Musin also doesn't seem to be factoring you into how he's going to protect his people.
Also, what he should be doing.
And that's a good idea. What are the two of you doing and thinking? Tell us. You look like you've got a lot going on in your head.
Yeah.
Considering, talk us through it. I'm interested, because your response of rivalry is valid. This guy is.
Yeah, I feel like they could fucking sort themselves out now. Let's leave.
Like, we can go home.
Yeah, remember how we came here to set your last wrongs to right? Now we're here to do the same, and you're being all titchy about it. Back and deal with your own zombies, mate. We'll pick up the pieces.
Absolutely valid.
Take our village back.
Just a couple of points, you can absolutely turn around. First of all, zombies have come to Oakton, and more zombies may come to Oakton.
And we dealt with ours successfully. They're in the cart.
You
are burning your village to the ground.
Absolutely. When their village is gone, will the horde come to Oakton?
Well, that's when we'll go in. That's when we'll go in and solve the problem.
You could absolutely do that. You could sit outside and camp. The other thing is, the more destruction that occurs inside Greenstone Village, the more leverage they're going to have in trying to sort of paint you guys as the aggressors here.
Mm-hmm.
You will obviously say, well, they stole from us, and they'll say, no one died. And have people died here? Well, they haven't mentioned anybody who's dead. They sent champions in. So far, they've managed to evacuate everybody, but you're not sure whether everyone is going to be saved. This is legitimately over to the two of you. You could step back. They will be forced to retreat, and you can feel sort of the determination of this group wavering. They will likely leave the village, and you could go in and try and cleanse it afterwards. You could even plan to go back and grab a bunch of soldiers and move in afterwards. Or you could try and limit the tribal conflict that is going to be done between the two of you. There's one last factor that I will add into this mess of decision-making. As you're having this conversation, Alana stepped back, she looks around, and you will see her eyes track towards the side of the cart where she sees that symbol that you painted in, and her face turns white as a sheet for a second. And she glances up, back down to it, and then we'll hurry over to Musin, unless you want to ask her anything, unless you want to stop her.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We got to stop her. What is it? What does it mean? We saw it on the road. It was impressed into the ground. We couldn't read it.
It's a symbol of undeath, a powerful rune taught usually only to those who need to know it to fight against it. If that is here, a mere breaking of old oaths, that is not enough to cause this. This is not just angry spirits. There is something else at work. This theft, it has opened the door for a greater evil. I must attend to my people, and she'll turn away.
She's going to try at least one more time. Orlana.
She pauses, turns towards you.
An act of war? You really think we're capable of that? That was your declaration? That was your default answer? Us? Me?
That's a good. You really attached yourself to her. Do you want to make a charm check, and you can add +20 to this roll, considering the pre-established relationship that you have with Orlana?
I will take that and run, please. Actually, you know what? These dice were on some BS last time we played. Let me go ahead and pull out the other ones. Those same dice were. Where did those? Yeah, let's get rid of those. That is you said a charm?
Charm. Yep. Unless you would like to propose something else.
Nope. I'm going to ride with what you assigned, and I missed it by 10.
You can see a sadness in her eyes as she says, "It's out of my hands."
Mm-hmm.
Events have moved beyond where I have control over them. Two of you still have a choice to make. If you want to avoid war, help deal with this, and help deal with it fast. I'm sorry. She will depart, and the barricade will kind of close off to you a little bit. You know, if you want to go and find people, you can and push through. But there is the emissary party has been received, and they've been spoken to. You're not sort of given run of the camp, so to speak.
The jams have been taken.
Exactly. The jams are out. Except for the jam they're in, which they'd like you to get them out of. So the two of you left alone, I'm going to assume that you step a little bit away where you can have a conversation. And I just want to reinforce, tell us, you can choose to turn back and leave from this or alter things. I'll leave it for the two of you to decide exactly what happens next.
I see the look on your face. Just say your thoughts.
We need to help them. On one level, this was our doing. But they could stand to learn politeness. And the way that we've been treated after we went to such great lengths to stop violence in the past. They should understand that if they're going to threaten us with war, it will be matched. We can't blink now, or we'll show weakness. They need to understand everything they've threatened us with. We can set things to right, but they need to know what they've implied. And they need to know that if they continue down that path, they will be met with stern response.
Every time you say act of war in the middle of the conversation, she either winces or she flinches because she's still genuinely hurt that it even escalated to that point. And to that point, she agrees with you. Like, that really? That we're going to throw that hammer down? That's how we feel today? She also recognizes that half their village is on fire and they have innumerable debts. So I agree. We'll set this right. And then they could stand to shoulder some correction themselves.
Tell us, let me ask you something. I remember when we were going through passions and developing them, did you end up taking the passion hate war?
Yeah.
So how do you I would like to call upon this passion for you. Is the war answer something that Telos is like seeing as it's such a serious thing that we have to respond to it deadly seriously, or is there kind of like it won't really happen? What's the reasoning? What's the reasoning there? I'm just interested.
A war crippled our village and theirs. To even suggest that we would go to it over such a, obviously it's not trivial, but over this sort of thing is absurd, especially since we went to such great lengths only moments ago, or I know it's a month or whatever, to prevent conflict between our villages. Definitely has it's a mark against them, and definitely a diminishing of respect that they would propose this. Yeah, no, Telos it's actually not hate war, it's fear war is what
fantastic.
I have, although I had a little bit forgot about that. I think I absolutely would not want to go to that. And if they really do threaten it, we probably would roll over. But sees a stern face to be the best defense against it.
That totally makes sense to me. Fantastic. So, help seems to be the word of the day.
Yeah. Dave's face is everything right now. Just
for gritted teeth, literally.
Telos is so annoyed.
I'm finding the desire, because my every instinct, this is my favorite part about role-playing games, is these sort of points where we can make really big things. My instinct as Dave is to immediately start scheming, and I'm like, all right, how would we take control of this village? What can we do now that's gonna set them back centuries? We will take it. We will have the barrows. We will have them. Everything will be set to rights. The statue will be ours. So I'm trying to bite my tongue.
Oh, look, that is absolutely.
But that's not Telos. That's just me. So I'm trying to.
And it's a
I just
direction
love that sort of shit.
Take this, but there is definitely opportunities here for some prime scheming. For now, though, it seems like the two of you have come to a conclusion. You're going to head in and you're going to try and deal with this situation. You know where the barrow is, and you leave the barricade and the people behind you and turn towards.
I want to make it very clear to them before we go there. I just do want to let the threat of us just leaving hang there. Like, I think we head up to the side. We do a bit of like pointing back the way we came, and considering things, and really make it like we'd consider leaving, because I think we do. It's.
100%. Do you want to make an intimidate check or an intrigue? I can see here.
Yes.
No, I have none of the above.
Aracha, do you want to jump in? You could, if you're teaming up here, you can absolutely make the intimidate check on the behalf of Telos. The risk here is that if you want to
let's go for
telegraph it and make it known to them, they might, really respond to it. Otherwise, it could be perceived as a hollow threat, and they might see through it, or it might have the opposite effect where it's like we're going to be forced to act here, and meanwhile Musin is scheming when they go into the barrows, and even if they solve the problem when they emerge, they will be weak. If this is war, then we can slay their champions upon emerging, or some terrible thing like that.
Nerds. I'd chuck this bloke off a hill.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is stay true. If we're going high, we're going to double down on we're leaving pump fake. Low is, no, we're going to do the honorable thing and go forward. That is a 42. We're going to do the honorable thing and go forward. She's going to forego the intimidate check. That is not going to change any amount of her snark, because those comments are going to be loud. Like, I'm embarrassed for all of us that they would even insinuate that this would be an act of war. Like, we can't. So she's not pump faking like she's leaving, but she's definitely going to be audibly agreeing with Telos. Like, this is absolutely absurd. It's ridiculous. I'm embarrassed for all of us, and I'm disappointed.
Shameful conduct.
They definitely hear it, but there's not really enough time for a full response here as the two of you break towards the village itself. From here, you need to try and decide your approach.
No time to scheme. We have to go save your burning village. We'll be back.
And you're 2 out of 3 of your heroes, apparently.
Heroes, are they? Me and you beat them in the trials. Anyway. So you can leave your horses out, far enough away that they will be safe, and you will have taken trained mounts, so they will know that if something, they stay there, and if something terrible comes, they run away. Your actual approach to the barrow is up to you. The streets are dangerous, and you're going to need to find a way to navigate them. Otherwise, you will almost certainly encounter zombies. So I leave that over to you, whether you want to decide to do a move quietly check. Maybe you can find some kind of alternate access route. The other thing to consider is when you the element, the weapon that was mentioned inside Greenstone Temple. Musin yelled, "Don't let them have that." Orlano made the assumption that since they forbade it, you probably wouldn't. You could decide to still go and take that if you would like.
I think that would be very much an act of... we would lose our moral high ground, and I'm quite happy up here.
I'm happy up here.
It's a good spot.
No, we'll do it without their little weapon.
Yeah, we don't need your shit.
Very fair enough.
Die.
So what's your
Screwed.
approach then? The standard would be,
so the barrows the barrows are in the town.
They're at the very edge of the town.
Can we go around?
You could go around, but you sort of wander through streets and you come down to a like an entrance into a large hill. So to get around from the other side, I will be asking for something like a climb check to get down safely on the other side and be able to get in while having navigated. Also, there remains the risk that although it appears that most of the creatures are heading into the town, there might be some out in the hills. So there's still going to be an element of luck as to whether there's a threat there.
I think we should definitely try and avoid fighting any more of these things than necessary. I think we're setting this to rights as much as our involvement was in the initial causing of it. So basically, I was like, the ones that are in the village, that's their problem. I would suggest we try and circle around. Can we climb? Are you alright at climbing? Alright, you? It's a pretty high base when it's base 40, so I figure that gives us a good shot. Whereas I know move quietly is not exactly your strong suit.
No, her loud behind is not a move quietly. 45 and climb, we could do it.
Okay, that sounds possible, right?
We could do it.
Shall we do that?
Yeah.
Let's try and circle around.
Okay,
yeah, circle around, going where it's thinner, and then climb it.
Fantastic. All right. So you skirt the outside of the village, and you can see as you begin to climb the hill that looks over Greenstone, one of the sort of up parts of the many valleys that make up the farms that run off from the village, you get a better look into the center, and you can definitely see more and more of these things going around. For reference, this isn't like a thronging undead horde in the hundreds, but that you count maybe 10 of these things wandering around.
Way more than we got. We got what, 2 and 1? 2 small guys, 1 big boy?
Two small guys, one big
yeah.
boy, exactly. And you're counting 10. There's probably a few more that you haven't spotted.
Shit.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot more here, but they also are right next to it, so makes at least.
I do want to point. I am bringing what was stolen with us.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yep. Perfect.
I didn't want that to accidentally get left somewhere. That is
no.
nuts.
It is assumed that you.
I'll also mention too, right? Yeah, as again, we should consider that this is not our fault. That this was not Quayor's doing. There could be more at work. They mentioned that the rune is something of great significance. She may have set things to motion, but they could have done something as well.
I questioned my own bias when Orlana interpreted the rune. This, for what the girl took, this is a major escalation. I don't think you're wrong.
And that so many have attacked their village where only a small number came to ours. And we traveled the whole circuit back today. We saw no more moving. It seems the attack is focused here.
No, I agree. The escalation doesn't fit the crime, but not a scholar. We'll find out, hopefully.
Okay, that's a good point. You'll eventually get around to the front of this hill, and then you'll be able to sort of scale down, dropping into the front, and hopefully be able to dart right into the barrows without alerting anybody. This is a combination of kind of it's. I don't want to get you guys to make a move quietly roll, but there is an element of stealth to this, where you're kind of finding the right moment and then also using speed to kind of dart through. So I'll get you both to make a climb roll in general here.
I might augment, because this feels like a bad time to fall down and get attacked by zombies.
Probably not the best moment, no.
I will augment with movement, because we're
Absolutely.
moving. That
makes complete sense.
Appropriate. So I'm rolling under 60.
I am going to mirror that move.
That movement.
Yep. Ooh, success on the movement, just.
Okay.
So I'll increase this roll by 20.
On a regular success with a rune, you are increasing by 20, yes.
20. So now I'm up to 60, 75. Hot dog.
Nice.
My claws as well. When I pop the claws, I can do like extra climbing stuff, but I've already used them. Just like fun I saw
that's
about
pretty
that.
cool.
Ah.
It's like ice climbers. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How are we looking, Aracha?
Iratia almost had a special success on augmenting also. So close.
Okay, so only a regular plus 20 then.
Better than a fail, though.
No, not plus 30. So plus 20 for a regular success, which will bring your climb to what?
A whopping 65.
Okay.
Odds are...
That's not bad. She rolled a 97, but that's not bad.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I did succeed. I got a normal success.
97.
Yes, at least you did.
As Reggie goes,
Okay, so you drop down and you begin to move. You are climbing along. What did you say your score was, Iracha? Because I'm just checking if you fumbled.
97 over the 65 I was attempting.
Over 65. No, you're fine. You would have to have below a score of 11 to be able to fumble on a 97. So you are completely fine there, but you still do fail. So tell us, you drop down, you weave in, and you start to go quick smart. Iracha, you're a little bit slower, and halfway down, clambering the sort of hill face, you kick down a sort of slight stumble of rocks, which go tumbling down, making a racket, and you can see shadows from the city itself turn to address the noise, and they begin to head towards the barrow. You drop down and you look at them. They haven't caught you, they don't swarm, but they are moving pretty consistently in your direction. What this means is there is something following you into the barrow, and if you run in long, you hesitate, they're going to catch you. So basically, you've only got a few seconds. You need to turn and run, or decide to stand and fight these things now. You can get out a word to tell us if you'd like to spin about and say, let's take care of this threat. Otherwise, you can try and outrun it heading into the barrow.
Are we like at the entrance to the barrows?
You're at the entrance.
And the barrow it's like a cave?
Yes, imagine a large sort of cave heading into a hill, and inside there should be when you were in there, you saw only a single large room. There are obviously tombs that have been like sealed off with clay. There weren't like a bunch of doors or anything. You're about to head into a single room as far as you are aware, although almost certainly this thing has opened up a bit, and you know that they tend to descend underground.
Wait, because it was like an earthquake that they said, right?
Exactly.
How many total are shambling towards me?
2 of them have spotted you and are beginning to shamble in your direction.
It's probably a really poor decision, but we're going to go for it anyways. Doing a quick gut check. If I'm looking at how fast they're shambling compared to what I think I can book it at, if I take off running in the opposite direction, do I think they can actually mow me down? Do I think they can catch up with me?
You're faster than these things, but so if you run to the barrow, you're going to get
opposite
to the barrow.
direction.
Opposite
no, because I don't want them closed in behind us. If
That's
I go a completely opposite direction and just lead them away, can I eventually outpace them and just circle back to the entrance of the barrow?
I like it. It's going to be a check because since you've got your back is now to the barrow under the hill, you're going to have to like dart through the streets, and there's every possibility that you come across more of them and this problem escalates. That said, yeah, they're slow by nature. These things are slow. So you could try and run and outrun these things and then loop back around and make a second shot. It'll basically be a couple of rolls to see if you can outrun them. But yep. Okay.
So yeah, like landing on the ground, she's got like those tumbling rocks that like probably split a line of blood in her hand and on her face, and she's like, "This is a really bad idea." She's gonna look at Telos and she's just gonna book it. But it's not like a sprint as much as it's like one of those backward run type of situations where she's communicating somewhat through body language. Like, I'm just gonna lead them on a merry chase. I'll hopefully be back in 5.
Hell yeah.
Telos, what do you do immediately?
I'm going to slink back into the shadows, so I'm not going to draw their attention any further, and I'm going to begin stringing my bow.
Okay, fantastic. If you're sort of getting ready to be able to act, I will get you to make a move quietly check, just because you're sort of staying enough in the vicinity.
Can I do hide? That seems more appropriate.
Hide, absolutely. You can do a hide check.
My hide is lower, but I want a ticket.
That's the go.
That can't augment, right? We're still in the same sort of climbing.
You're still in the
space.
same scene. You're still in in my prep chapter, you were still in arriving at Greenstone. So,
I succeeded just.
Just? Okay.
Yes.
You press yourself into the shadows and begin to string your bow, getting it ready to take out more of these things. Meanwhile, Iracha, you spin about and you start to run as quickly as you can, moving out and weaving through the streets. I'm going to give you 2 options here. I think that I could see you making a navigate check here. That is you attempting to try and basically find the best way through the city streets. Navigate is the skill I'm thinking about here. I'm just double checking that I haven't mistaken it for a different skill in RuneQuest, and I'm talking with the wrong system. 1 moment.
Oh man, system overlay is so difficult to navigate.
It's a bit of fun.
Navigate. I don't see a navigate.
Yeah, what am I talking about? Okay, in which case, what I'll get you to do then is you can either make just a flat dexterity times 5 roll, and I'm going to get you to subtract negative 20 from the skill, because this is tight. You don't know the area. There's smoke everywhere, and it's difficult. Otherwise, you can use your dodge, I think, is probably...
Battle? Is battle like tactics?
Battle makes sense, actually. I could see battle.
That could be cool, though.
If you have battle, I'd be perfectly happy to see you use a battle here. And this is you kind of like leading them and tricking them inside each other. And I just know that in the back of your mind, you've been considering all the battle tactics for assaulting Greenstone Village since you first saw it. So I think that totally fits.
Okay, so just to clarify, you're giving me dex times 5 minus 20%.
Yep. Otherwise, you can make a dodge. And this
dodge.
is you like basically diving through and avoiding threats.
Can you quickly point me to just which category dodge is under on my sheet?
Dodge is under agility at the top.
I appreciate that.
The base for dodge is your dex times 2, but you might have additional points in it based on your martial training.
Nope, I sure don't. So we're gonna go with the. We're gonna go with this dex. This should be comical.
Okay.
Nope, wrong dice. Okay. If it's dex times 5, that should be 60 minus 20 is a 40. The first roll is a 16. Thank God.
Oh,
that's
nice.
good. That's great.
That's really good. So do you want to just give us that scene? What does it look like until you loop back around?
Yeah, so like she stands up, she's looking over at the entry point of the barrel. She's like, we cannot get cornered in, trapped between whatever's already down there and these zombies coming down. She makes that split decision. Let's lead them on a merry chase. And she almost kind of like converts right back to her childhood games that she probably should have been playing with Telos, but God knows where he was at the time.
Stringing his bow in the corner.
Stringing his bow in the corner. Yeah. So she's going to start doing the backpedal jog, keeping them within a safe distance before she like sprints, lets them catch up, sprints, and then she's going to turn around and just start, moving about the city as quickly as she can.
You loop between the streets, weaving, crashing them into each other. And before long, you've led these things on such a mess that you feel safe, darting back through a couple of alleys that you noted while you were running and sprinting over to the barrow, covering your escape. You see Telos now with bow strung, standing nearby, waiting. And the two of you, when you are ready, can share a word and then enter.
Oh, we're out. It's good. It's done.
Yep, you're good. You have gotten rid of these things, so now they are back in the midst of the fire and the chaos.
Okay. Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right. So if you step inside the barrow mound, tell us, you've already been in this place, and I described it then. It's basically a large circular room. There's small ingresses, some of which would have been blocked off with clay that would contain bodies. There are offerings that have been laid across the floor, although these have been scattered and destroyed and broken. Usually there are statues all over the walls, carvings that have been made, very varying detail, but most of them very intricate and nice, and they tell stories of ancestors, and they are heroes, and they have the people that are broken, so they have the people that were important here. Many of them are broken. There is a giant jagged crack that starts from the point across from the entry as you step inside, and it snaps and weaves across the entire circle of the room. You notice that it breaks across the figure with the blindfold across their face. This was one of the statues that I described the last time you were in here, and it cracks right across where their eyes might be able to see out. But as you see it now, this statue looks entirely inert. The ground has been greatly disturbed by things moving through. You can see bits of broken masonry where stuff has been shattered and destroyed, but you don't see anything like a door. You don't see anything that leads deeper in. And as you stand by looking about, although this sense of fear and anxiety that's been lurking with you the whole way is at its peak here, you're clearly nearing the heart of what your objective is. You see no way forward at this stage.
Do we recognize this statue at all? Is that like a god that we might know, or an ancestor, or?
Absolutely. Let's see. You can make a homeland lore check.
Okay. 50, base 50. Rolling. Failing.
You can tell that this person is on the All-Leving side of the room, so they are probably All-Leving. They appear to be given the sort of aspect of a warrior, and you can see weaponry that surrounds them, but there is no additional information apart from that. You're not sure who they are. Your guess would be some kind of All-Leving champion, but who knows?
Oh, another question. Is there a clear place where these trinkets go back? Because in theory, if it doesn't continue, this is where Quaya would have taken them from.
Absolutely. So much of the area has been sort of like broken apart. You can definitely see that where some of them would be hung, like the crack has knocked bits of masonry loose, and some of the sculptures, so they can't be rehung. There's not like a clear missing hole where you would put them, but the general area, you can start unloading the shoplifted piles of goods and returning that if you would like to.
We just pop these down in the middle of the chaos and then let's head home.
Done. Head off. So you're
glad we put that back.
You're checking out the statue,
that was
and you're
close.
going to go and you're checking out the statue, and you're going to go and have a look over at the area that Quayo took everything from. Iracha, what are you doing?
She's really fascinated just by this break, this fracture in the ground. So one, she would want to trace it, and then just see if with her earth rune, maybe If there's any type of like a point, an origin point that I can figure out, like was a staff thrown into the ground, was a spell cast here, was it just simultaneous, tectonic plates moving around, just trying to get an idea for this actual.
Absolutely. So this would be a search or a track roll. You can augment it with your Earth rune. Absolutely. We are in a new scene. You are now inside the barrows, but I want to flag to you, this is going to be your descent into the barrows. So as you move through them, you've got one skill you can augment for that. So you can obviously use it here. That said, you can make a search check, and there is an assumption that you are just tracing the outside of this crack back around.
Okay, she's not going to augment that this early in the entry point.
Okay.
Wait. Oh my God. I'm allegedly. I don't know if it's a 10 or 100.
Is it 1-0?
Moment. Hold on. It's a 10.
Sorry.
It's a 10. Nice.
That's still good.
It's not a special, but
better than
100. It's
a
a success.
That's a lot better than 100. Okay.
Yes.
So tell us what you're returning the artifacts. I'm just clear on that. You actually are putting them back one by one, sort of just as best you can. Meanwhile, Iracha, you turn around, you begin to follow this fissure in the wall. It moves through and around. It's pretty eclectic. There's no order to it, although it does kind of break away to go across the eyes of this figure. Maybe there's some latent magic there. There could be some sort of guardian spirit situation going on. But then the crack is pretty eclectic. When you follow it all the way around, you find at one point it gets very close to the ground, and there is a break that is, you sort of just discounted it as part of the fissure, but it is technically fittable into. This is kind of like cave diving sort of thing where you'd have to like really get down and crawl into the darkness, and it would be pretty damn horrible to do it. But you can see that ingress, and with your success in your search, when you get close, you will see technically a track, but the information is clear enough. This appears to be where the greatest disturbances are. You would suspect that the things are coming out from there. This possibly leads deeper down into the barrows. It's not a clear path, but it's a path.
Presume it's where the others went as well.
Where the others went, as in
Didn't they send 2 champions down here?
Yes, yeah, presumably it is where the others went, yes. Sorry, I wasn't sure which others you were referring to. So, you replace everything. Tell us. You've got this fissure in front of you.
Home.
All right. Heading towards it, it immediately becomes clear to you that you're going to have to squeeze into this thing. Do you want to try and widen it, try and break it apart, take any steps like that, or are you literally going to get in and try and just weave your way through?
I'd be concerned if we start moving rocks around, the whole thing's going to collapse in on us. I'd suggest we just push through. I'll light a torch.
Okay.
So that we're carrying one. I'll array to you. You might want to grab one as well, just in case.
Yeah, she'll do that. I don't have any type of light. Yeah, so yeah, she'll grab a torch and get ready to start squeezing.
Ugh. Not fun. When you bend down and you get towards this thing, so you really are like cramped up to a horrible degree. You're having to like push the torch in front of you and then sort of keep it going and squeeze through really, really uncomfortably. And it is claustrophobic in the extreme. Let me ask the two of you: are either of you claustrophobic, or your character's claustrophobic?
I think no, but I'm definitely more. I prefer an open space.
Yeah, you're not.
But I wouldn't
actively
say claustrophobic necessarily.
Okay, no, that's totally fine. This is, a pretty awful experience as you get down and you start to force your way through going in. I would like both of you to make a climb check here. I think climb is the best analogy because you are sort of having to move yourself, and pretty soon you come to like a bend where you're actually having to like invert your bodies and do all of this sort of terrible, horrible scraping.
So the new scene, so that previous augment doesn't carry?
No, this is a new scene began when you walked into the barrow.
Gotcha. Schwang. Woohoo! Success.
All right, tell us. How did you go? Sorry, Aricha?
A success as well, yeah.
Oh, both of
Totally
you
good.
succeeded. Okay, fantastic. So you both managed to bend yourselves through, pushing the torches ahead of you, and after inverting and breaking through, you finally managed to squeeze yourselves out, and you are below now, as far as you are aware, the main structure of the barrow. Immediately, you realize this is going to be terrible to get out of. It's going to be incredibly difficult. You'll have to clamber back up the passage that you kind of dropped yourself down previously. You emerge into like a large room that is clearly some sort of burial chamber, and you can see that there are like sort of large clay coffins effectively that have been laid in every direction. There are bodies piled around. You immediately feel your heart start beating faster and faster. The passages ahead aren't consistent. Some of them are still cracked and horrible as you begin to move, and you will continue to descend into the barrows. I want to ask the two of you a question. As you pass through here, this is the way that the Orlanthi people have been buried for many, many years. Of course, different clans have different ways of doing things. This is one of the common ways that people would be laid to rest. You can't help but think back on your ancestors. You know that several of them are buried inside these mounds, and at some point, you might be passing by people who you are direct descendants of. I want to ask the two of you about your fathers. We know about your mother, the linking character that the two of you know well. Tell us a little bit about the other sides of your family. Where do you come from there? What's the heritage that you bring forward that you might run into? Because your, grandparents could easily be, or great-grandparents could easily be down here. Either of you can jump in.
So mine's the easier one. All I know about my father is that he traveled through. He is not necessarily of our clan, tribe, etc. Although that said, it would not surprise me if it turned out that he was from one of them and just traveling through. I don't know too much about him. But Tellus would not be expecting to find any signs of his father's lineage here. In fact, it's something that he just doesn't really know very much about, and he very much associates with his mother's side almost exclusively.
Fantastic. If I can just probe a little deeper there, has Telos actively avoided trying to find out about his father in the past, or is it just sort of never been interesting to you?
Not. He's probably asked his mother about it a bit when he was younger and more curious, but it's not something he just doesn't really define himself by it very much. I think he's curious about it, and in future he intends. I think he's always had it in his mind that he'll leave here eventually, and he'll go out and probably seek it. It'll be something that he puts effort towards. But as he's younger, it's just not something that was a high priority.
Do I hear from that is that you think your father is still alive?
Yeah. I think in his mind he probably assumes he is.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Iretia, what about you?
Yeah, I think with the spaghetti at the wall, I'm going to go that her father was much, much older than her mother, and that he had his own nuclear core family that he was extremely attached to. So I kind of imagining her always being on the peripheral of that, core family unit that she didn't actually fit into. So the kids maybe they were friends with her, maybe they weren't, her half siblings, but I just have this mental image of her going and sitting outside of their window, listening to him read them stories, telling about his victories and the things he's done. But she's not in the room. She's outside adjacent, and probably that anger is starting to simmer there. So that's what I'm going to go for.
We didn't dive into this, but is this still are they in Oakton now? Are they, do they live near you? Have you come across them still as an adult?
No, I don't think so. I don't know what happened to that family. I'll leave that to you.
All right, well, let's leave that to the side, but you just sort of think back to this family that you were never really attached to. So neither of you sort of have this kind of heritage from your father's side, at least, that is leaning down here. Although your mother, obviously, is a linking factor, and the two of you continue down. You weave through one passage and then the other, breaking further and further.
Just quickly, there was putting the artifacts back didn't do shit, did it?
Didn't do anything that you were aware of. Zero.
Because taking the artifacts didn't cause this. That's why.
Here we are cleaning up someone else's mess again. God damn.
Again, this had nothing to do with Quail. We're fine. We're gonna find out what really happened
down here.
Absolutely. This, despite neither of you being naturally claustrophobic, this is pretty horrible. And as you get deeper and deeper, the burial methods become less and less well-defined. You start to see literally just sort of bones and bits of bodies that are packed up into the walls here. And then more horribly, you start to see ones that clearly started wriggling, as if whatever, undead mess that's been in this area started to activate and break through, and then eventually they stopped. But you could, dirt has been disturbed, and you can see a bony arm hanging from the ceiling that still, as you walk past it, occasionally goes,
yeah,
and then relaxes again.
I'm gonna give them a little. I'm carrying a hatchet. I'm gonna give them a little chop.
Makes total sense. You
That's
slam
enough of
through,
that.
and indeed, the deeper you get, the more things seem to have been disturbed. You can see that broken bits of dirt, clumps, everything does look a bit unstable. You were probably right. Damaging the roofs and stuff is probably going to make a lot of this, descent much, much harder. Eventually, you round one corner and you come into a much larger room. And here,
oh, thank God.
Yeah, you're not bent over. Here, you can see there are dead zombies on the ground. These ones have been cut up and they have been destroyed. You also see in the shadows a light. And as you pull your torches towards it very faintly, with the last lights of a spluttering torch, you see Corlon. That is the nerdy kind of character, and he is slumped against the wall, and there is a dark stain of blood all across his torso, and he's very pale white, and his eyes semi-rolled up, open, and only seem to half detect you as he mutters something unintelligible under his breath.
After verifying that there's nothing else moving around him, she will approach and just kind of put her hand on her forehead and lift him up. She's not going to ask that obvious question of, are you okay?
I'm going to be keeping an eye out as Irate is tending to him. I'm just looking down side passages and mostly listening, just making sure nothing's creeping up on us.
Do you want to make a listen check? And
sure.
Do you want to make, for me, I think, probably a
That's first aid.
A first aid check, probably, yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking if there's something more appropriate here.
Peaceful cut.
Yep. Peaceful cut, absolutely, yeah. Finish him off. First aid from you, Iracha, and the listen from you. Tell us.
Success.
Success? Okay. I'll come back to you in a second.
No.
All right. You sort of pat towards his body. He is very grievously wounded. He is dying. He could possibly be saved. If he is raced up, or if the two of you want to burn a bunch of magic trying to protect him, but even then trying to get him up through the tunnels, he may die here. And as he kind of sits down, muttering, he's saying, "Fala, and I further down, they're coming out." He keeps trying to sort of flutter and point. Do you say anything to him, Iracha?
I mean, something to the fact, you poor kid, you didn't belong down here. And the best you can do is at this point is try to keep him warm and try to keep him comfortable. With the rune magic that we have, I'm seeing heal on this sheet. What is that heal wound? What does that actually mean?
So you can absolutely pump a bunch of magic into this guy to heal him. And you have the capacity to restore hit points to him. You don't know the grievous nature of his injuries. For example, heal wound doesn't affect poisons and things like that.
Got it.
But if the issue is the big wound in his gut, which it very well might be,
it's a good place to start at least.
It's a great place to start, and giving him some more hit points is going to help out. You also have your magic belt, which has a heal matrix in it, so you can spend some magic to try and restore some points to him. I will remind you that everything you spend here is going to be something that you might not get back later.
Yeah, and we haven't been hit yet. That's brutal. I tell you what, I'm not going to make decisions for this character. Let's see how she feels. High, we're going to do what we can to stabilize him. Low, listen, casualty of war. 76. Damn it.
So low casualty of war, so, high. Yep, you're feeling responsible.
High, just high. This kid didn't belong down here in the first place. He should have been upstairs advising on logistics and strategy, not down here in combat. Everyone, I could see that, and I'm not even from this village. So yeah, she's going to attempt to heal.
Okay, so you could use a spirit magic heal, which you could do multiple castings of to try and restore some health. That is going to take you a while to do. It will be you sort of sitting down and, very magical healer hovering over him, muttering for a while. Otherwise, you could burn rune magic for some kind of heal, and that is going to be you using a point of your rune magic, which is obviously a massive investment, but that's a lot quicker and it's a lot stronger. Before any of this, though, two things happen. First of all, as you're getting close to him preparing, you will see he is consistently pointing, and he appears to be pointing up, and you can see carved, very detailed into the roof is this massive symbol of undeath, and it has been deliberately carved. It's not just formed. Someone has made this.
Like a long time ago, is it like faded, or is it recently chipped in?
If you don't know when it was made, but it has definitely been well maintained. It looks new, as if it, it would have been something that is like a holy ritual around keeping this thing clean and free of dust and prepared. He's sort of staggeringly pointing towards that. Meanwhile, with your success on your listen check, Telos, you are going to hear down from one of the caverns just below you, and you can see the passageway that leads down to it, the sound of it almost sounds like a pick striking, and then heavy footsteps, and breathing, more importantly. Crunch.
Did the other undead breathe once we were going? They were.
Ooh,
they don't need lungies, do they?
They did a little bit of because they're evil. This is proper articulated breath.
Yeah.
So, do you alert Iracha to this? Do you want to pull her away from trying to treat Corlon, or are you happy to?
I'm no longer perceiving Corlon as much of a threat. No offense, Corlon. So I'll just talk to her in front of him. I'm gonna say, there's sound coming from below. It's most likely, what was her name? Fala.
Fala was a female, yeah.
It's most likely Fala. We should remember she was the one who caused all of this last time. This feels almost foolish to say. From here onwards, the way I see this is us going beyond our duty. If we go down there and we're led into a trap, it is our own foolish nature that has brought us there.
Corlon will use this moment to speak. Deliriously, he manages to croak. It's not Vala. It's something else. We couldn't stop it. Whatever it is, it's not her.
Do you have any idea what it is?
Here. Something terrible. Something powerful. And he'll point up towards the symbol once more. And he will manage to, he keeps sort of trying to gasp. He has a coughing fit. This is one of those things where you're not going to get a clear answer from him unless you can treat him or provoke something. But he will manage to sort of vaguely croak to you, the dancer in the dark.
What?
Whoa, that sounds cool.
Yeah, that sounds sweet.
A dancer in the dark. Does that mean anything to us?
You can make a spirit lore check. Iracha, you can make a cult lore check. Tell us.
What is my hunter cat guy getting up to with all this undead nonsense? Cult lore, was it?
Yep.
Okay. I'm not going to augment. Nah, fail.
Failed as well.
Undead are dark and dangerous and terrifying things, and for very good reason. Knowledge of them is kept hidden from most people. Even to the two of you, you understand that there is some complexity. You know that undead are kind of creatures of chaos, but also kind of not. But the exact details of how that works escapes you at this point. Unfortunately, Corlon is not in a fit state to be able to elaborate.
We should heal him either way. If we're going to do a good deed here, they should know that we did it.
And as she's casting in between, this, ritualistic, spell casting, and it exonerates Croyle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you've got these two options. You've got the spirit magic heal that you could use, or the rune magic heal. Basically, this more powerful one, or this longer term one. The question, the functional question here is: do you want to take a long time to do this, but conserve your resources, or make this a kind of one and done situation, and then get going?
I have no rune points left, so it's up to you if you want to burn it. I spent all mine last time.
Yeah,
Making cat
you
claws.
I'm just gonna go high, slow. Yeah, she's gonna do the slow route apparently.
If you're doing slow, I can also assist because I also have heal, so I will do the same.
Perfect. We're hands on.
So the two of you bend down, and you're going to start together casting spirit magic. This is going to be repetitive casting over and over again as you crouch over this guy alone and in the darkness. So what I would like you both to do, first of all, just make for me a general power check as you try to cast this. Obviously, you would be able to repeat this several times, but give me just sort of like a general one for the moment.
Failed by a lot. Not a fumble.
Made it.
Made it? Okay. So it takes a little bit of leaning over him and muttering over time, and you are gradually going to be able to heal through. For the sake of simplicity here, what heal does, the spirit magic, is it lets you heal 1 magic point to a hit location of your choice. What his torso is the one that has taken the to abdomen technically is the one that has taken the most damage. So I'm going to say, and you probably fire a couple of other points. I'm going to say both of you please reduce yourselves by 5 magic points as you stand there and you lean over him. The two of you working together, though, it's a nice little moment. Do you want to describe your magic healing process? What this looks like to outsiders? Is there any combo magic thing that happens? Any version of the two of you working together?
Fusion. I think I'm taking Aracha's lead here.
All right. What does the healing process look like, Aracha?
I can only imagine that after a couple rounds of them fumbling around, especially with that failed power check, like I'm trying to fire off, nope, you're firing off. Stop, move your hand. This is not how this works. Wait, look, how did mom do it? Eventually, we should have just gone home. After a few seconds, a few tries of this, we finally get into sync where it's almost like, can you imagine when you're doing shared chest compressions? Where like you tag one person out, another one takes in, recovers. Yeah. It's one of those type of situations.
A glowing.
It takes us a second to get in sync, though. Yeah,
kind of bathes across Corlon's chest, and his breathing starts to still. He passes out. Being alert to talk to the two of you took a lot out of him, but he falls to rest. He appears to be at least temporarily stabilized. Giving you two the time to progress. Now, as I mentioned, this takes a while, and you continue, now that you've been alerted to it, to hear noises from downstairs. And you can hear this smashing again, this breathing, the sounds of clattering bones occasionally, destroyed masonry, and this voice that begins to yell in frustration more and more and more. Eventually, it forms words, and you hear a couple of things whenever it shouts. First of all, you hear this guttural, like very hideous undead noise. The second, overlaid over it in that kind of very disconcerting modulator sort of way, is the voice of Thala, which you recognize. And then
gross.
On top, there is this ethereal kind of unrecognized woman's voice. And it is yelling, "Where is he? Where is he?" And then smashing, smashing, smashing again. Builds and builds and builds. Eventually, the heal completes, and the two of you can turn about. It's now time to descend, unless you want to take any other preparation, steps that I haven't thought of. If you want to prepare beforehand, precast any spells, this might be the moment.
I was thinking, I've got silence. I might pump a little. I cast silence on each of us. I think I can cast it on both, right? Just to make sure, so that we can try and sneak up on whatever's happening as silently as possible.
Absolutely. Make a power check and cast.
Voiced success for Eratia and for me. Fail. But I think I can just try again,
No.
right?
As long as it's not a fumble, you try again. So
Yeah,
this is
fine.
just checking
Oh,
that.
hey.
I'm just
Special.
special. Okay.
Haha.
I don't believe special spares you the magic points
I
in
don't
this
think
case. So it would just be on a critical. Both of you are applied, have the effects of silence applied to you. So gradually, you know, everything fades out, and the two of you are quieter. Any other preparations you want to take?
Just acknowledging that we have no fucking clue what we're going into and should probably go back. Let's go on.
Pulling a couple of those zombies on top of Corlong. Blanket them under some
Oh, yeah.
zombies.
He doesn't seem very happy about that, but he's
She's unconscious, right?
But donk.
You're fine. Just take it. You'll be okay.
Great idea.
That's enough from you.
And before long, the two of you walk down. Tell us usually to use a bow. So I'm wondering what weapons you're coming down with, because it's a pretty cramped space. If you can both give me a vignette of your characters emerging down the stairs towards this climactic final scene, that would be cool.
I have returned the bow to its wax case, and I have instead drawn a hatchet and shield. I'm padding silently among the rocks, bathed in flickering torchlight. All right, you use a hand. You have a hand free, right? You don't use a shield. Are you good to carry the?
Correct. Yeah, she's got a hand free.
Thank you.
Right.
Because
You've got the torch in your other hand. That means that you don't have a hand free to cast, notably. So you can cast things that are imbued into your sword, like blade sharp and stuff like that, but you won't be able to throw out other spirit magic. As you head down the stairs, emerging into what is clearly an inner sanctum. This is the final, deepest part of the crypt. You see no other tunnels that lead out to just this single room. And it is clearly a place where, like, the holiest of warriors would have been buried. There are stone crypts down here that have been built around fallen bodies, a great sign of respect. But many of them now lie broken open, and there are shards of masonry and scattered bodies of bones, just tossed around the floor. On the back wall, once again, is another one of those carved ornate undeath symbols, undead symbols. And there is a shadowy figure that is standing before another one of these stone coffins and is striking at it with a large kind of, looks like it's some sort of ceremonial weapon, and it's all jagged and bent and destroyed. And there are several other ones that have been previously tossed aside as they have been blunted and damaged and broken into oblivion to try and smash open this rock. The figure is Fala, or at least was Fala at some point. Already, her body has began to change. Her skin has grown tired and taunt. She looks maybe 40 or 50 years older. And, you know, as she turns, you can see bits of her flesh are starting to hang off as she goes, like, dehydrated drawn out. Her teeth are, like, long and fanged, and she has claws that are gripping around this thing. She is wearing armor of battle as if she was prepared to go, but, you know, and try and fight down into this place with call on, but whatever vestige of her is left, you see no sign of the same facial expressions that you would have you noticed from this woman. There's no, you know, slightly smarmy or snarky response upon seeing you. I should have checked actually beforehand. Are you trying to sneak in? Would you like to make a move quietly check, the two of you, to see if you're, like, literally trying not to alert this
Oh,
figure?
yeah. I mean, that's silent, right? We're moving in to try and get
100%.
Get
So
a
please.
sense of things before we get. Well, so
Sure.
basically, move quiet. Silence is basically like, unless we fumble, you're good, basically.
No roll
good.
necessary. The two of you creep down, crouch low, and gaze ahead of you, where you can see this figure working. And she appears to be smashing open these broken tombs with what is clearly some kind of superhuman strength as she slams in and sends chunks of rock flying. She finishes her work, grabs at the body inside, and then, like, shrieks in anger. Where is he? Throws this body away again, picks a ceremonial, like, hammer from inside this tomb, and then moves to the next.
Oh, wow.
and begin smashing it furiously, taking, great chunks of rock off with every strike.
I'm gonna like roll my neck, start limbering up a little bit. Look, try rage. You're like, all right, I guess this is where it's going. This is so bad. This is so not good. We're gonna have to deal with her, and then we're gonna get in trouble for. They're gonna be like, you like this. We shouldn't have come. This should have been their problem. All right, let's kill her.
I will say that this thing has clearly been articulate. Like there is words and movement here. It seems like it has some kind of intelligence. You could possibly speak to it, but you also might want to use your, stealth to surprise attack it and not forgo the advantage.
We should talk to it. We should try and figure out what's going on because I've little clue. And also, this might not solve it. Okay.
Yeah. They're
if I don't have the torch, I might slink off to the side and remain hidden. If you want to try,
that's a great strategy.
See if
for
you can
those
talk
two.
to it. Yeah. All right. I will.
Yeah.
I'll motion to one of the. It's working its way through Tombstone, smashing the hell out of him. Oh, this will backfire. I'm gonna slink around to the side and get in one, down like next to the creepy body or whatever, and crouch down so I can't easily be seen, and then so I can spring out when necessary.
So you're going to one of the tombs she's already broken open, and you're like creeping.
Or ideally, I'll be ambushed when this thing wakes up and attacks me. So
fantastic. Either or. Would you like to lay your arm just in its mouth so if the jaws come clamping down?
Yeah, that'd be good. I get that's what I got leverage.
Or
I'll definitely just look. I won't look at it in the thing. So we could, and if it's weapons there, that's fine. I'll leave that. Yeah,
okay.
Awesome.
Noted. Let me just write that down. All right. So you move over and you crouch. And you are hidden, as you've got silence active. You're totally fine for the minute. You step forward, Iracha, and you can still talk under the effects of silence. I think we established this before. You're able
or you can break it at this point. It doesn't matter. I can drop it if necessary.
In which case, you step out of the shadows. What do you want to say? What do you do?
Yeah, she's going to be waving this after her brother slinks away and she knows that she assumes that he's secure. She's going to do the Jurassic Park waving the flashlight, the torch at the creature.
Yeah.
And if she can get its attention, even if she can't, she's going to ask, for whom do you seek?
Wave towards and you say, for whom do you seek? And this thing that once was Fala spins around and looks towards you, eyes wide, stops, watches, and then tilts its head back and sniffs, drawing in these two great, huge breaths, and then stops and says, Vermandi, you are of the Vermandi clan. I smell you. You notice at this point the armor that this thing is wearing. It's all Fala's armor, of course, but linking the way that the designs work, there are tattoos across the faded skin that don't look like they are Fala's. They are sort of like formed up as if by magic, that are kind of linking this thing. Perhaps there's some kind of magic at work that implies that this thing has allegiance to the All Living clan.
You are not the skin that you wear. Speak your name.
Me. I am Miri. I am of your tribe now. By marriage, of your tribe. One of you must help me find him. I seek your champion. He is mine and I seek him. Where is Salim? And she steps forward. Either of you at this point can make a customs local check with +20, considering that you are actually this might be a homeland law check. Yeah, homeland law with +20.
Homeland law +20.
Oh, here we go.
40, 50. Okay, I've got a good chance. I'm rolling under 70. Schwang. Nope, 79.
No
Didn't
luck.
hear for anything.
What is this?
I don't know what you're talking about, Ghost. And I don't like it.
I'm either failing or just teasing short of a special. She made it.
Okay. Oh, hell yeah.
So, just short of a special, totally fine. So, Miri, that name means nothing to you. You presume all living. Silim does mean something to you. Generations ago, Silim was a great Varmandi champion, and he fought in the battle to try and defend Greenstone when it was taken by the Orlevin clan. He fell in that battle, and because that was at the time when the Varmandi had to flee, his body was never recovered, and he supposedly fell in the Gijay Hills somewhere when there was sort of like an associated battle around.
Okay.
In fact, this would have probably come up in conversation if you had gone to the duel in the final section. You probably would have picked that spot or something like that as like a holy area where a great champion, did battle and stood against dozens of Orlevin. Yeah, Silim is an ancient champion of your clan, and Miri appears to be searching for him.
Does this match the big zombie that we killed previously?
Does not match, no.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Good question, though.
I would have solved that. Nipped that in the bud.
She's going to slowly start approaching, and she's going to say, Silim, the great Vermandi who died before we lost everything. And this is just her moving very cautiously, more for her benefit than it is mine, because I know my brother can pop out and apparently save the day. Why do you seek him?
She steps forward, and you can see her eyes sort of flare. With the heightened emotion that she appears to feel, you can see the large symbol at the back of the room appears to kind of shimmer. It is clearly some kind of, beacon, or it is responding to the power of the sort of magic she is emanating as an undead. You also see a faint trickle of dust. You're in the heart of this probably now collapsing tunnel system, but that symbol on the back, as it glows, like nothing dare interrupt the power here. So she continues to approach, and she says, "He is mine. We are joined by law. He is my lover, and I must find him."
Aw. That's sweet.
Oh, God. Okay. If she's approaching me and I'm approaching her, we're gonna. She's gonna
reach. Yeah, and
we're here.
Yep, she's.
Can I position myself to be in a flanking position with my brother for the tomb? I saw him. Can I just
absolutely? But she's getting real close. I want to flag. So she is like, she keeps walking as if she's going to start like kind of pouring at you. You're not sure if she's going to attack you, although she does have these grand claws. She's ditched the ceremonial warhammer, by the way. And as you get close, you can just see this horrible, like drawn back, hideous face as she gets really, really deep in.
Who called you from your sleep, Miri?
She hesitates for a second. I was woken. I was not called. I came myself. There was a vessel, one left unclaimed. The symbol at the back like begins to pulse again at this point. And you almost like, it's almost as if you sort of just like poked a crack in armor, and you almost confused her for a minute. But as this pulse happens, her eyes harden again, and she will yell, "Where is he? Where is he? You have hidden him. You are of his people. Where did he fall? You must tell me." At this point, she will grab you unless you take an action to stop her.
I'm just so curious on here. Let's see what happens if I don't attack her.
All right, yeah.
All right, fantastic. You feel like every urge in your body is desperately kind of like saying, go do something, force her back, fight, but you resist. She pulls you close, and you get this waft of like death coming from the mouth, and you can see that there is sort of this black, almost venom that is lingering on the teeth as she gets really close. But she does not strike, and she will kind of yell, croak at you. We must rest together. I must find him. Where does he lie? Tell me so I can rest. And that same black venom begins to leak from the corner of her eyes, almost tears, as she pulls you close. tell us, what are you doing all this time as you sit watching? What's going through your head?
Watching. I'm trusting it that Irachia will let me know when it's necessary. I'm death gripping the hatchet and ready to. I'm within, leap and hatchet the back of the head range if things carry on. But I am also very much motivated by truth and understanding. So as long as it's talking and sharing information, I'm happy to hear it.
Okay, fantastic. You're lit by the torch, which is in Iracha's hand, and also by a faint light sort of pulsing out from that symbol carved carefully into the back. Iracha, desperation in this thing's face is obvious. What are you doing? What is your immediate instinct? Every fiber of your body is screaming at you to act.
Yeah. My fight or flight is in full fight or flight right now. The one thing she's very careful about is please don't spit this venom shit in my face. Please don't do that. And she's fine. Put me down. I'll help you find him.
She holds you for a second, and she says, Promise me you will help me find him.
I promise you I will help you rest. Now put me down.
Do you want to make an intrigue check? Because that seems like a little bit of a fast wording there. And we'll see
fast
how...
talk, is that the role?
Fast talk will be fine. Yeah, intrigue, I guess, is more.
Oh, what is
like high? Intrigue is like kind of decoding a little bit more gossip within courts and
gotcha.
The details of fine allegiance. This is sort of like tricking someone quickly. I think it literally is a fast talk check.
This should be comical, guys. I'm gonna roll my bad dice for this one too, just to see what happens. That's a 78 and a fail.
No, or in which case,
and just like that,
you feel this like tension as the claws grip tighter around you, and all three of the voices, this woman's voice, Fala's voice, and the guttural growl that is underneath, yell, "Liar! Liar!" and she will leap to attack. And we will now proceed.
I'm going to pop out and have a little hatchet.
Absolutely, as per normal. Fantastic. We move forward into combat.
Oh, no.
She is completely unaware of you, first of all. Tell us. She does not know you were there. You need to cross the distance, of course, but since she doesn't know you're here, she's not going to... She's
jammy, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not too far. You have to sit up and dive forward out. Rest yourself out of the mouth of the beast that you were trying to get to wake up and bite you. But you can, when you strike, she is not going to have any kind of block. It is just going to be how hard you can smack her hard on the back of the head.
Love that.
Meanwhile, we will go to intentions. Her statement of intention is as follows. She is going to scream very loudly, as in like terror, like it will have an effect. And she is going to start slashing wildly at anything that comes close. She doesn't have the strike rank to move and engage. So if you guys had been separate, she might not have been able to attack on the first round. Unfortunately, she got right up close to you, Iracha. So she is going to be able to slash and claw at you. Additionally, the symbol on the wall is going to flare brightly, and you can see many of the bones and bits begin to stir. There is going to be some kind of, for want of a better word, attack from the area around you as these bones begin to like sort of burst forward. What's your statements of intention?
So I can't cast a spell while I'm holding a shield as well. I can't sort of like, it's not like strapped on and I can do a bit of smacking and then re-grab it.
There are specific spells that allow you to do that.
Yeah, I'm not casting one of those.
Okay, in which case, no. I don't think you can. Sorry. Yeah. You could have thought to have cast it before you went in if it was something like protection.
It was during the whole discussion. They only last for like 2 minutes, so it wouldn't have expired. So no, that's good.
Great. Okay.
All right, then I am at math.
Miri is acting at 12.
Okay. I am going to increase my strike rank by 5 to cast a spell. So that's juggling the whatever. If I can have then maybe I cast it and I pick up the shield and charge in. Yep. So that is going to bring me 5 for the spell, 6 because it's 2 magic points, brings me to 6 plus 5 for strike. I'm going to go on 11, and what I'm doing is I'm casting coordination on myself so that I can move as swiftly as possible, that I'm racing forward, and maybe I'm on 12 as well, actually. If I need to spend 1 to close the distance, that gets me perfectly on 12.
Perfect. At any rate, if you both land on the same one, we'll have you go first, so you'll go just before her. What about you, Iracha?
I don't know how this works in the strike ranks, but just from a role play standpoint, she's going to be attacking while trying to simultaneously talk her down. Is that going to work? Probably not, but it's still what she's going to be. It's her intentions.
Sure.
To try to talk her down while defending herself, more or less.
That's totally fine. So you're making a regular attack, which I believe that your strike rank for a regular attack is 6, right? 6.
You got it.
Fantastic. So you make a regular attack, and then we'll just add 1 strike rank to Yell. You're going to be going first anyway. So I rate. Yeah, you are jumping in immediately, and we leap into battle. She screams, "Liar!" And you know it's going now. You can hear your eardrums start to shimmer as her voice from Liar begins to get louder and louder and louder and louder. Your sword comes flashing out, and you swing. Do you want to make a broadsword attack?
I would, please.
Okay.
Holy crap, guys! I hit a 4.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
55.
Yeah, that'll definitely do it.
That is absolutely incredible. All right, well done.
Much better than
So
last
let
session.
me just my dice roller up and see how we go. Miri is going to try and riposte with a 4. I think that's a crit, right?
It's a special.
It's a special? Oh, okay. All right, fantastic. In which case, so boom. Yep, that is a fail on a block. So you lunge forward quickly, stabbing out, and you were going to do for a special attack, you were going to do your damage dice again.
Oh,
Hell
okay.
yes.
Just a damage dice.
So your broadsword is 1d. Let me.
1d8.
1d8. Perfect. Yep.
So
So roll an
2d8 plus
additional
damage
d8.
bonus, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Got it. So 8, 9, 10. It's to be 11 on hit location 3.
11 on hit
Hell
location
yes.
3. Oh my god, that is a pretty palpable hit. Okay. So you slam in, and with a hit location 3, you were going to stab, surprising nobody, the right leg. Jamming in. I mean, it makes sense. They were right on top of you. So your sword slashes out and you stab it through, impaling this thing. It has a ton of very well-made armor. They put the best that they had on Fala, their champion, as she went in, but it is not enough to block here. You reduce the entire amount, and then the significant amount on top of that. The ghoul screams hideously as it is stabbed, shrieking even louder. With that you got 11, right?
11, yeah, I think that's
11.
what I rolled.
Okay.
Sorry.
6 of that damage is going to go through.
Nice.
Not bad.
Piercing through, she's like gritting through her teeth, like, I'm sorry, I want to help you, I'm sorry.
Fantastic. You begin to yell. I mean, why don't you just make?
It's okay if it means nothing.
Yeah. It's you're yelling.
It's role play for her. Yep.
She's screaming traitor, liar. Next to act is going to be Telos as you dart in.
Hatchet time. Oh, sorry. First, my power roll for coordination.
Yep.
Success, because if this failed, actually my strike rank does not fit within the turn. So that's a success. So I move swiftly, close the distance, and swing down my hatchet.
Jesus.
Great. Wow. I'm actually not.
And no defense.
Actually, I'm gonna. I don't know if I want to. I'm going to augment with
Bold.
with bloody thinking. Let's do. I get death. Seems right. It's
Absolutely.
It's undead. Time to go back to dead.
At 100%. One of the grand things is that Humat, the death god, hates the undead with a violent passion. This is a complete perversion of everything the death rune stands for.
Humat and I have that in common.
100%. Good.
Perfect.
I failed, so no.
Okay, no. And that was a rune invoke So on a fail on a rune invoke, -20 using the rune, but no negative to the actual attack.
Okay. So I'm now rolling under 45. That's a 7, which will be a special.
God damn, guys!
Yes.
You both dive in, slamming down, shrieks stabbed in the leg. Then you come through and you crunch it across the back with another special success. So that is going to be, what's your damage die for a hand axe?
Let's just whip through this. It's a D8 plus 2 I have written. So
fantastic. So that is going to be
4?
2d8 plus 2.
Easy.
Plus DB.
Oh shit, nice. All right. So that is going to be math. Oh shit, 10, 12, 15. So 15, 2, 4. Is that the same leg? No, it's the other one.
Is that the same leg?
Absolutely, it is. You slam down, you slash, and you slice the leg clean off. It tumbles sideways to the ground and begins to thrash. This is a devastating wound to it. To be clear, the amount of damage that you have dealt to this thing is in excess of its total hit points. And while this thing is an undead, it is not a zombie in the traditional sense. You slam down and it tumbles sideways, kind of breaking about. It screams, but its scream is going to turn immediately into a death knell. This is you guys completely overwhelmed this thing. Its skills lie in blocking, defending, striking. It's a dangerous opponent. It's not a tank like the zombies. And with 2 special successes and making use of your stealth, you've absolutely smashed my deadly, terrifying villain. So I hand it over to you. Tell us. Can we have
the scream effect? Can we have that?
Absolutely. But do you want to give me just sort of a cool death scene?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
And the scream will still come out.
Well, I think Irate does the strikes at it, and then I leap over the tomb I'm hiding in, run low along the ground, and then slide behind it to drive the hatchet into the wound Irate has already opened and lever off the rest of the leg.
This thing collapses downwards and begins to writhe. You can see the magic holding its body together, animating it, immediately begins to shatter, and there's a great pulse from the rune in the back as this terrible, horrific scream comes firing out of it. I need both of you immediately to make an intelligence roll.
Oh shit! Is this a Call of Cthulhu style where we want to fail this, or?
No, this is you absolutely want to succeed.
Oh, okay. I'm quite intelligent. Watch me fail this.
She is not. It's her lowest stat or her lowest characteristic.
Success. You all right?
Yeah, success.
These rolls have come in really right at the end when we needed them. We're
That is fantastic.
Let me just get session actually.
Let me. Yeah. You guys have done pretty fantastically well. Let me just get the contest table up, the roll resolution table.
Uh-oh.
Pose resolution, fantastic. All right. So your.
Do we need to compare the values?
Yeah,
first?
sorry, I should have given you a skill specifically. I'm sorry. You are challenging. What is your intelligence? Tell us.
90.
Okay, you are.
Wow.
Which is 18. You are
18. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, you are so beyond fine. Rachel, what is your intelligence?
10.
And what did you roll on your D100?
21.
Both of you hear this blood-curdling scream which slams into you, and it is horrible. This it induces complete and utter panic in you that launches through your body. Your every instinct is to run. If this succeeded, it would have been the effect of the demoralize spell, and you would have been forced to flee. Since you can't,
sick.
you would have done this entire battle with half on all of your attack rolls, which would have been devastating against this thing, which is above all a combatant that attacks, would you believe it, 3 times in a turn. but it never got the chance to
God.
strike. Because when it comes down to it, the two of you can work together expertly, and with 2 special successes, one launching from stealth, one launching quickly, you're able to overcome it, and the creature shrieks out, tumbles, begins to writhe, and before long, the magic holding its strength, holding its body together, is going to vanish, and there is a great kind of explosion of invisible force which knocks you both backwards, reeling. The symbol on the wall fades, the light from it gone, and suddenly all you are looking at is the wizened, old, shriveled corpse of what used to be Fala.
And she's definitely dead.
Ooh.
You see no sign of life from her. Her eyes are wide and blank. You can rush over and make a first aid check. Is there anything you can do?
I mean, short of pumping out a bunch of healing into it, but if she's dead, I think.
As you get close, you're going to realize that she probably died long ago when this thing got
I feel
her
less bad then.
initially. And alone inside this final shrine, this final sanctuary, you can both like gaze up and look towards each other for a moment. Is there anything you say? Any final words? Just silence?
I am amazed. That worked.
In and out of game, as am I.
I'm still
no,
waiting.
Rachel doesn't have anything to say.
It just the freaking walls start like shaking as the
Absolutely.
So it does seem like whatever was here has deadened and not alive.
So
is
here's
there
what
any
happens.
is there any more sign of what triggered this?
Absolutely. So let's go into all of that now. First of all, the energy that was here fades. What was about to happen was a bunch of horrible clawing things were going to come and start grabbing you and trying to hold you down for it before so it could attack you. But they never are given the chance to materialize. And they immediately become limp, and the bodies that were beginning to move collapse and sort of fall. And you feel this great release of pressure. The symbols that were glowing here it's glowing here is going to fade. The one upstairs that was standing above Corlon wasn't glowing, but the strange cleanliness it had is going to also vanish. Secondly, this place is now going to start to collapse. Not full Indiana Jones style terrible collapse, although it very well could have, depending on how that fight went. But it is pretty unstable and pretty dangerous. So you have a brief moment to look through here, to grab anything you need, and to leave. I'm assuming you were going to take Corlin up.
I think we'll try and
for
take
sure.
Fala's body as well if we can.
Okay.
Fala's body if we can,
absolutely attempt to
Only
do
to
that too.
exonerate ourselves of Moida.
Yep, the two of you are moving these bodies up. I also think you probably have a search of the area.
Yes,
you can
please.
make a search roll. I will also get one of you can once again make a, now that you have time to sort of look over the bodies in detail, you can make a homeland lore check. And this is going to be plus 20 once again, given the time to look over the bodies. You could make a spirit lore check if you're trying to get some kind of vibe of the additional details here. If you can think of anything else, track even might be useful. I would be pretty. I'm happy to hear it. But this is your moment of investigation to find out what, if any, this other source was.
I will do. I think track I think I'm good on track. I think I'll do homeland lore if that's all right. That's kind of what I'm most curious about is the nature of.
You can make a couple of
abilities.
rolls, but like you've got time, so you can do track and homeland lore. But the idea here is that like you're not going to get multiple attempts at the same roll.
Yeah, okay.
The
I was
circumstances
gonna say search and homeland lore are probably the two.
Sure. Rachel, what do you think?
I'm thinking homeland lore and. Can I argue a rune?
Sure, absolutely. Which rune?
Oh, I don't know. I was just actually throwing it out there if that was an option.
You can make a rune check, and that's sort of just giving you a general vibe of like you try to sort of connect with that rune here.
Yeah.
You can always
the one
argue a
big
rune
thing-
anytime.
Ooh, detect.
Always argue a rune. Good. See, this is why I love you as a GM. The one thing that's sticking out to her right now is she asked, who called you, And she says she wasn't called. She was awakened because there was a vessel, one that was left unclaimed. So she's trying to do a gut check to try to figure out what that meant, if anything at all. So I'll argue if I can I get the homeland lore for that?
Sure, that's totally
something
fine.
Different.
But you're specifically kind of trying to think about that instead, like how that applies to things.
Also, because like spirit's still around, and then it has like all we've done is get rid of a vessel, if anything, right? I guess maybe because the trinkets are big. I don't know.
This is pretty like this. Frankly, this stuff just isn't in the two of your areas of expertise.
Yeah,
you are a hunter and a striker. You're not a magician.
That thing to death. Problem solved.
Yeah, chop it.
Right.
I'm gonna do search first.
Okay, make your search check.
Fail.
Fail. All right. You go through this, but apart from these standard accoutrements of admittedly nice, although some now scuffed and damaged ceremonial weapons, the body of Fala, and general relics that would have been left down in a tomb, the sort of old plates and stuff. There's nothing of particular note. Nothing that you pick up and go, "Ha, this is the one."
So we've done so poorly on the investigation aspect of this, but just killed it.
You did so
like,
well.
I don't know what it was doing here, but it's dead now. We look around and go, well, best leave.
So that's your search. Did you want to make a homeland lore as well?
Yes. Is this like is something like niggling in my mind? Am I like, there's something afoot here?
This is you having time to look at sort of the elements of the tomb, and it would be like, does there is information here that would be kind of if Telos stopped and thought about it, might spark a couple of ideas. But is he?
I'm a stop you thinky kind of guy. So yeah,
skilled enough to do it, or will you leave and then maybe this place collapses and you'll never be able to go back?
Actually, super good at it. I've just rolled terribly. I'll have you know.
Fair enough. So unfortunately, no. This time, you are.
Oh no, sorry, I haven't rolled that one yet. Hang on, sorry.
Oh, you haven't rolled that one.
I can do that. Fail.
Fail. No investigation allowed. Only action.
Only kill.
You take a search, but you can't think. You're too busy. You grab the bodies. You begin to move out. What about you, Arecha?
Arecha succeeded on the homeland lore.
Thank God.
Okay. Fantastic. So you are casting your mind back, a vessel left unclaimed, and you were thinking to the stories that you have heard in the past, most of which you heard crouched at a window. The family speak that you were not allowed to be a part of. As I said, the stories of the undead are pretty well hidden in Glorantha. There are terrible legends of vampire gods and of zombie gods as well. And this is as you sort of cast your mind back, and this will be both now and in the future, that there are some factions within Glorantha who are able to use necromancy and the undead for good. The troll god, for example, raises undead zombies so that they can continue in the internal fight against chaos. Trolls are creatures of darkness and have an association with the Yinkin cult, which is why you might have been able to fragmentedly get that information at some point throughout the session, Telos.
Gotcha.
But one word that was said pops into your head again and again, and ultimately this will be the thing that throws you, into a new direction. If there was one great threat of undeath in Dragon Pass, in the area that you've all grown up in, it is legends of a evil sorcerer, a magician who uses chaos in their magic from a far distant empire, who mastered the ability of replacing his soul and moving it into others. The legends are vague about this terrible being. Supposedly he created many hideous monsters, even sewing together creatures, and that is apparently the root of many of the creatures in the nearby Beast Valley. The servants of this dark necromancer are sometimes referred to as dancers in darkness. And it's about at that point that the story being told by your father would have gotten everyone too scared, and they all would have been sent to bed and tucked up with you out in the cold, looking now at shadows and worried that one of them was going to come for you. What is certain is that this represents something greater and grander, and if there is undead at work, the solution to this problem is almost certainly going to be outside of the small, peaceful Ormfane Valley, and you'll need to look elsewhere to people who can tell you what's going on, because you're doers, not thinkers. And
yeah, it's like now we'd go and seek out old Broken Teeth, who was mentioned last time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or now you go out and you pay a visit to, any kind of sage. It's from there. That is the end of this adventure. You will
Problem solved.
Exactly. Well, there are many problems remaining.
Problem solved.
You will carry the bodies out. You'll be able to return the corpse of Fala. You saved Corlin. There is going to be longer-term discussions between you and the All-Living tribe. Coming out, having solved their problem. Iracha, the village will come to you eventually. Without the sort of, this isn't really a situation where as soon as the magic animating these things is destroyed, they all collapse. This isn't so there's still zombies that are about, but with less of them coming, the All-Living will be able to ultimately reclaim their village unless you take steps to stop them. Upon claiming the body back from you, when you go to Musin and to Orlana and you hand it back over, you will have, if you would like to take it, one last opportunity to cool heads. You could swallow your pride and try and say, can we leave this here? Or you could use this as a weapon. We achieved our duty. We did everything needed of us. Come after us if you dare.
And more. How about cooler heads on their side? Do they show any signs of acknowledging that we just saved their ass?
Absolutely. There are people who are like, within the village itself, and you can see in the background people like wailing with relief. There are stories of your heroics that are going to be told here, and even if you admit it grudgingly yourself, there are stories in your Varmandi clan's history of great deeds that were done by the Milani tribe and even the All-Living clan. But as much as you are bound by the responsibilities to act and the responsibilities to, if someone mentions war, you have to do things. The formality of your lives and the structures of the way that Orlanthi society is means that Musin and Orlana, they don't fall to their knees and thank you. They don't dive forward, but you do detect, they're trying to. And it's over to you here. In this situation with tribal rivalries and bad blood that goes back at least as far as Miri and Salem, but possibly even further, it's very, very difficult to break out of these habits. Would you like to try? And if so, Iracha, as the speaker here, I'll throw it over to you. What do you make a speech? Do you say anything? Do you want to make an intimidate check or an orate check or a charm check, or just leave it and let your words speak for themselves?
Let's see what the D100 says, guys.
Yeah.
High, we'll go the diplomatic route. Low, we're going to flip them the bird.
Fantastic.
That is a 19.
Yes.
I'm sure Telos is super excited about this. So let us opt for, if I can get away with this one, probably an intimidate check, which she would double down in an attempt to augment, because this is the second time that they've come after us and we're wrong. This is the second time that we've come to their house and cleaned up their mess. This is the second time. And we have made, at least Iracha has made so many efforts to foster long distance relationships, one romantically and another one from almost like a parental standpoint. This hurts. This is painful. You know what? I understand why we don't rock with you guys anymore. Yeah. Everything makes sense. It's all true.
Next time we come back, we're not helping.
I get it.
We're taking advantage.
Make for me an intimidate check.
All right.
Can you
with her emotional
augment?
self, Yeah, we're gonna augment with the air rune for just pure. We did just fine there. Yes. So this is a 20 on top of a 46. This is a 66. 76. Ooh. 65. Made it.
That's done. You deliver the threat, and it is heard. You said the people, in that were sort of like relieved to see you in the back of the Oleving tribe. You can see many of them clam up and tremble. Do you want to give us a brief flavor of what you say? Any particular one-liners that burn out?
Yeah, since apparently we're still on the let's blame everybody except for ourselves, you were going to blame a 12-year-old for actions that were far beyond the consequences what we saw. We're going to point down to Fala. This death, one of your 3 heroes, this death is on you for your own negligence, for your own arrogance, and for your unwillingness to foster an open arm that was offered to you from people who were kicked out of their homes. This is it. Don't come to us. Don't ask about us. Don't knock on our door the next time your village needs saving. This is the end of our relationship.
I love it. Fantastic.
Yes.
The weeks to come, the Oleving clan are going to escalate grievances against the Varmandi. It will reach the tribal councils of the Milani and the Kolimar, and we will have to deal with that. All the while, there is a terrible threat brewing, undead and dark creatures that could threaten the whole of Dragon Pass. The next season to come, when we will pick up our story again, is Storm Season. Storm Season is at the end of the year, and it is traditionally the season in which raids and warfare are conducted.
Oh, God.
That's the end of this chapter of RuneQuest. Thank you so much, Bridget. Thank you so much, David. That was really, really fun to do. We will be back in the future after this grand season of conventions and all kinds of exciting things like that. Thank you once again for joining us. Do remember you can check out all the previous videos as well as all of the videos for our Call of Cthulhu streams and a bunch of other stuff on the Chaosium YouTube channel. Once again, pick up the RuneQuest starter set if you are interested in jumping into your own adventures in Glorantha. And thank you to Sirenscape, which we used to great effect. I will toss across to Bridget. Do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Brilliantly played, James. Again, my name is Bridget Jeffries with Chaosium. If you are looking to publish your own playable content for Call of Cthulhu or this game we just played here, you also have that option, or 7th Sea. You don't know where to get started or you're on the way but have questions, feel free to email me. My email is Bridget. That is a bridge that you walk across with 2 T's at chaosium.com. I'll get you bridged across that gap, whether it's your insecurity, whether it's rules, it's not rules. Let's be honest about that one. I can outsource to Nick for that.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you, Bridget. And Dave.
Yeah, that was awesome, Jim. So my name is Dave, and we are running more content on the Twitch channel, so make sure you check us out there, as well as over on the YouTube where all of our live plays are stored. Also, Jim and I will be at Gen Con in a couple weeks, so come on via the Chaosium booth. We're running demos and games, and we're happy to just chat, hang out. It'll be sweet. Hope to see you there.
Exactly 1 week now, I think.
1 week.
1 week. Scary.
That's soon.
Thanks so much, everyone. We've got exciting things coming next for this. One last question for Oratia and Telos. If you could sum up your plans for this next storm season in a single word, what would it be?
Ruin.
Ruin and...
oh, gosh. Correction.
Domination.
Ruin and correction. Fantastic. And with that, we'll leave it off. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
No
Bye-bye.
quarter.
Mwah.